This is Tony Radel with
Knowledge Domain.
Tony Radel. Today we are talking about awareness and levels of awareness. This is something that's been a really common talking point with me ever since I was in the Marine Corps and learned Jeff Cooper's color codes. It's something that has definitely always occurred to me as something that was worth talking about. Here in our Warrior Krav Maga curriculum, they've changed it a little bit. I think to be a little bit more consumable for, the civilian side of the house, but it's a little more simplified, but I think it's very, very effective and to the point. And so I want to kind of get into what we're going to talk about today as far as, levels of awareness. And I'll talk a little bit about Jeff Cooper's color codes at the end. I definitely think it's something worth talking about. I definitely encourage my students to look up Jeff Cooper and read his books and to research a little bit more about the color codes and how they apply to us. And then also, I am always endorsing authors like Colonel Dave Grossman. On Combat and On Killing are two of my favorite books when it comes to talking about the psychology and physiological aspects of combat and how it is that, normal people will perceive and endure combat. So definitely worth the effort in looking for that information. So without further ado, levels of awareness. I'll read it right out of my book and we'll break it down. First level is unaware. All right. Non-responsive to surrounding environment. This state is inescapable some of the time. If you are attacked while in an unaware state, we consider this an ambush, and your best chances of survival is to weather the initial onslaught and then counterattack violently. And honestly, that's the basic philosophy of Krav Maga in a nutshell, right? What does that sound like? I mean, it sounds almost exactly like that 3-step process that is Krav Maga, the addressing the initial threat, right? And addressing that threat immediately, violently counterattacking, and then creating space and getting off the X. That's the best thing you can do if you are caught with your pants down, caught with your head in your cell phone, caught digging for your keys in your bag, or caught, sitting in your car, spacing out, whatever it is, or standing on the sidewalk with headphones in and just being disconnected from your surrounding environment. It's definitely an important thing to keep in mind that we want to make sure that we're always paying attention to our surroundings and that we are not allowing ourselves to become complacent. All right. Next stage is aware. All right. Conscious of your surroundings and the people in it. You are simply aware that the world is a potentially unfriendly place and you are prepared to defend yourself if necessary. Awareness can help you avoid danger, give you more time to prepare a response, or can serve as a deterrent in and of itself. So what does that mean? I'm going to say that the grand gross majority of your waking hours, if you are outside of a safe haven, okay, be it inside your home, your office at work, whatever that place is, that some place that has, some level of passive security that can give you a heads up. You know what I mean? Someone's banging on the door or broken window makes a sound, right? Or somebody's shouting at my secretary out in the lobby or whatever it is, whatever that looks like, if you are not in a safe haven where you are free to focus on your tasks or something else, but if you're walking around in public, if you are driving down the street, if you are shopping in the grocery store, whatever it is, you're out in the world. This is the condition I hope that you're in. My goal for everyone is that we keep our eyes up, our heads on a swivel, that we're looking around. We're always doing our scan. Remember, our scan is always up, down, and out, right? People high, weapons of opportunity high, and then looking for exits, right? Keeping an eye out for the exits. Simple things like that. That's our scan before, during, and after a confrontation, is we're looking for additional attackers, weapons of opportunity, and avenues of escape. All right. Alert. All right. Number 3 here. Alert. Something seems not quite right and has your attention. All right. Your senses have picked up a possible threat and your mind begins to set mental triggers. If that person does X, then I will do Y. At this stage, the fight or flight response is activated. So your your limbic system is engaged. And I like to talk about how, hey, this thing has happened. It's occurred. Your limbic system was already picking up the threat and created the physiological effects, telling your body that there's a threat. Okay. Now you became actually alert when your prefrontal cortex visually identified the threat. That means that, you might have, your limbic system, the most honest part of your brain, sensed a threat, something in your peripheral vision, your brain, the latent part of your mind was like, dude, what is that? The hair on the back of your neck stands up. Your palms begin to sweat. Your nostrils flare. Your skin flushes. These things happen because your body is like, something's going on. Something is going on. And it happens most of the time before your prefrontal cortex, the observant decision-making center of your brain, is able to pick it up. So you might feel that increase of heart rate, that a little bit of adrenaline rush. Wait, something's up. That combat cocktail might actually have gotten started before your brain, the front of your noggin, said, whoa, there it is. And then starts setting triggers, mental triggers. Okay, I see the guy across the street. He's making direct eye contact with me. I don't like that face. All right. He's looking real serious. If he closes with me, I'll attempt to step inside the store. If he continues to close with me, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to confront him and give him a verbal warning to show him that I'm paying attention. I'm going to give him a verbal warning. Hey, can I help you? Make direct eye contact, confront him directly. Can I help you? Right? That's like a verbal or a psychological preemptive strike. Okay, preemptive attack. That means that I'm engaging with them. That shows that I'm aware, first of all, that I'm paying attention, my head's on a swivel. And now I've already set these mental triggers. Now, if he continues, he crosses my line in the sand, whatever that line of the sand is, and everyone's line of the sand it's different, but you really, really, really should invest in the time to be able to articulate where your no-go criteria are when it comes to force. When am I going to use force? How am I going to use force? What are the specific actions that an individual can do that will elicit force from me? And that's, physical force. Now, for me, physical force and deadly force are very closely linked. If somebody is using force, I'm going to, here's the thing. I'm not going to use a preemptive strike unless I absolutely have to. I'm not going to use any force unless I absolutely have to. Based on my EDC, my everyday carry, I have to protect my tool belt. I can't just go scrapping with people. I really have to use every tool in my arsenal to keep myself from having this conflict to begin with, if I can, because things get real serious real fast. And once that line is crossed, things can't be undone. It's a very permanent thing. So I encourage everybody to take the time to really articulate in words, get out a piece of paper, write down certain scenarios. Think about it at the ATM, walking through the parking lot, walking down the street on the avenue, First Avenue, whatever, you know what I mean? Main Street, walking on the downtown mall, being accosted by someone on the street, somebody attacks your dog, real scenarios, real life scenarios. And everyone's experience is different. And I respect that. And I hope that everybody can stop and have a little bit of self-reflection and really think about the things that affect them in real life. I definitely want people to have that ability and take the time to articulate their own personal line in the sand. Okay. At what point did the music start? Does the music start? And it doesn't end until the fat lady sings, right? It's not over till it's over. So things to think about. All right. Alarm. Your mental triggers have been tripped and action must be taken, meaning that conflict is now. Action. The boogaloo begins. I must fight. The line has been crossed and there's no going back. The combat mindset is something that we develop as practitioners, as gunfighters, as soldiers, Marines, combatants. It's important that we recognize that the person that fights, that, under fire or is being engaged or engages the enemy, that combat mindset is a whole nother person. Tony, the fun-loving martial arts instructor, survival instructor, swim instructor, McQuist, whatever, that guy, enjoys doing X, Y, and Z, off-roading, hunting, shooting, bushcraft, teaching people how to swim, giving people the keys to the castle. I love that. That's the human side of me. That guy gets put in a box when it's time to fight. He doesn't get much of a say because that guy, he's not involved. Tony the fighter, the warrior comes out. That combat mindset says that this switch has been flipped. Pop. And it's time to fight. Ears get pinned back. Vision narrows. And you become focused, singularly focused on accomplishing this one task. And that is overcoming the opponent in front of you by whatever means necessary. Okay? It's very important that we do that. All right? So, can we go from unaware to alarmed? Can we skip aware and alert? Yes. Just like we said in unaware, we'd call that an ambush. And that would be at any point in the spectrum or in the timeline. Either I'm walking the street and I get jumped out of an alley, right? Or whatever. I am already in a fight and I am engaging somebody in front of me. And their friend grabs me up from behind, tries to choke me out, or hold me so that his buddy can get in some licks. That's an ambush, right? So those would be where our self-defense techniques come into play. And what are the self-defense techniques? An attack has been initiated to you, putting you in a position of disadvantage. That's when self-defense, our Krav Maga self-defense techniques are initiated. So it's important that we keep that in mind as we're going forward. Hopefully this kind of helps give us some context. I hope that helps. That's definitely a part of, obviously our knowledge domain that is very important. When we're talking about mitigating threats, right? Hell, what does knowledge domain mean? We talk about this in class all the time, but I have everybody memorizes it over time. Right? I don't really write it on the board much anymore, but people memorize it because I lead with this every time we talk about knowledge domain. Knowledge domain is the cognitive portion of any combat situations, the information that we bring to the fight. This knowledge can help us when we're thinking about where that line is. Help us to articulate your line in the sand. These definitions, these phrases and these definitions can help you to articulate your mindset, your physical setting in your body, right? The condition and circumstances around the conditions that you were in when you were attacked or when this situation occurred. So when you are testifying in court, these are terms that can help you to articulate yourself. You know what I mean? Hey, I found myself unaware. I was unresponsive to my surroundings. Hey, there I was unresponsive to my surroundings because I was, whatever it is. I was on my phone looking for directions when I was ambushed and suddenly I was in the alarm state and had to fight through this threat. I engaged this threat until it was neutralized, right? Those are some key words that we can use when we're testifying or explaining our side of the situation. Okay. So definitely something worth having in your toolbox. Definitely something I hope is helpful to you. And if you want to talk about it more, I would love to get into it. Jeff Cooper's color codes, something I did want to get into. Jeff Cooper's color codes are, let me pull this up for you. Jeff Cooper's color codes. White, also just so you have an idea of what it is we're talking about. White, that's unaware. That's unprepared and unready to take action. Yellow, prepared, alert, and relaxed, good situational awareness. basically where we want to be most of the time, right? Orange, alert to probable danger, ready to take action. Red, action mode, focused on the emergency at hand. So you are ready, you are in the fight, and your focus cannot be pulled away. You are not engaged in anything else. Nothing else can pull your attention away. In fact, you probably are beginning to feel some of the physiological effects of combat, be it auditory exclusion. You can't hear anything anyway. Your time dilation, things are slowing down, right? That combat cocktail has kicked in. Your frame rates have increased. Tunnel vision, right? Which is all of these things, tunnel vision especially, is a physical manifestation of the adrenal state, right? You're in the adrenal state, and as your tunnel vision starts to close, that is getting closer and closer to adrenal overload. Okay. So, and that brings us to black. Panic, breakdown of physical and mental performance. By breakdown, that could literally mean blacking out, out of the fight, completely spaced out. Can't see, can't hear. No concept of the world around you. I've seen it. It's nuts. Dude is checked out. That adrenal overload is not a joke. Now, the good news about these things, all right? One, I'll come back to this real quick. Orange, right? We're talking about alert to probable danger, ready to take action. What's important to note about that is it's a good reaction to the presence of threats, right? Okay, there's a presence of threats. There are potential dangers. When we talk about conscious of your surroundings and the people in it, you're simply aware that the world is potentially unfriendly place, and you are prepared to defend yourself if necessary. Awareness can help you avoid danger, give you more time to prepare a response, or can serve as a deterrent. Now, that's kind of a combination of yellow and orange, okay? If that makes sense. And alert is kind of a combination of orange and red, if that makes sense. All right. Alarmed is kind of a combination in here of red and black. Now, orange, I'd say, is a position on the spectrum that is a good place to be in a non-permissive environment, right? I think we can agree on that. Non-permissive environment. Dude, a low income, kind of a sketchy, the Section 8 area in an unfamiliar town, place that you're not from, with people who don't know you, you're a target. You probably shouldn't be there. But if you find yourself there, especially on foot, you're not in a good place. Probably a good time to be in that condition, orange, right? Probably a good time. Now, I'd say your planning led you astray. If you ended up in a place like that, you probably didn't do any proper prior planning, if I had to guess. But regardless, there you are. All right. Now you are a target of opportunity. So you should definitely have your head on a swivel. That being said, if you were in this condition while sitting at home alone, probably a side effect or a symptom of PTSD. It's very, very common to see somebody, they call it hypervigilance. People who they spend most of their waking moments hypervigilant, overaware, overcompensating for a fear of the unknown, I would suggest. So if that's something that you deal with, I highly suggest that we find somebody for you to talk to. Therapy is a helpful thing. I've done it. I can tell you that I spent years and years and years in a state like this. It's definitely a interesting position to find yourself in. So I encourage you to get help if that's something you deal with. All right. Now, I think we've talked about all of this now. Black, panic, breakdowns, and physical and mental performance. Breakdown of physical and mental performance. That if you stay in condition orange and red for too long, eventually black happens. All right. Someone goes black. That's what in the military we would say, somebody's gone black. They are completely checked out. They might still be moving. They might still be fighting, but they're not home. Their cognitive mind is not running the show, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Definitely something we want to avoid. The good news is that we can help to prolong the effects, put off the effects of adrenal overload. And most of that is physical conditioning, high cardio, your ability to process, cardiovascular activity and endure it has a direct correlation to how long it takes you to go black. Okay. And how long you can last in red. All right. Or in that alarmed state. Okay. So the better shape we're in, the better job we will do in that state, and the less likely we are to get to black. Okay. So that's the good news. So train. Take it seriously. The more cardio we do, it reminds me of Zombieland. I'm going to try to find I'm new at this podcast thing. I'm going to get us the Zombieland rules, but I'm pretty sure one of those rules is cardio. It's important. It helps you stay calm. It helps you to process that. Your ability to process oxygen helps your brain to stay on top of the situation. So it has a direct correlation with your ability to make decisions in duress. So cardio, it's a big deal. It's important to do cardio and to have that endurance, right? Any special operator can tell you, your ability to lift heavy shit is irrelevant. It's your ability to endure for a long period of time, to out-injure your enemy, out-injure your opponents. Right. And it's the same way in the street. Your ability to persevere and endure longer than the person you're fighting has a direct correlation with your ability to come out on top. So definitely something to think about. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that these are all things that you guys are interested in. And I hope that as we go forward and keep making these, we keep building on them. I hope that we are able to start a dialogue, because I want to talk to you. I want to address your comments. So please provide some comments, provide some feedback. Let's start a conversation. I'm all about it. Again, you guys are the reason I'm doing this. So I really hope that it's helpful. I hope that we're giving you the keys of the kingdom and that you guys are learning the tools that will help you to survive. All right, guys, this has been Tony Radel with Knowledge Domain. So Tony Radel, God bless. Knowledge Domain